This conference will now be recorded.
So all right, we discussed about the blueprint based installation. In blueprint, what we used is a couple of JSON files to install and set up the cluster. And it's relatively straightforward. Only thing you need to do is just edit this JSON file and start the installation. So before that, you need to install Ambari server and agents and configure. So the Ambari services should be up and running. And after that, we are just executing a couple of JSON script to deploy this cluster. So now we will, okay, so our main intention is like, so we need everything like infrastructure as a code, everything as a code, just execute that. Then what we need is in AWS, so we need that machines to be deployed. Okay, first those instances, my instances need to be installed, deployed. Then do all the prerequisites. Then do the installation of Ambari server and agent. Then with the blueprint, we let this cluster setup. Okay, all these things we can automate using Ansible. So you need not to do like so go to this AWS console, do the installation. Deploying the machine take some time, and again do the configuration. So manually it need a lot of time. Yeah, hi Prashant. So can you hear and see the desktop?
I can, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, sorry, I thought initially like the Prashant and Venkat was not joining. So that is why I thought of just skipping. But so since both are available, so we will start. I was just, we were just recollecting the things we have done the last week. Like we did a blueprint based installation. So blueprint is nothing but a couple of JSON files. Okay, so that is used for automated deploying a Hadoop cluster. So you can define the cluster in the JSON file, like what are the hosts involved and what are the components you need to install. All those things you can define in the blueprint. So we are just trying to build the cluster in a completely automated way, like infrastructure as a code. So we don't need to go to the AWS console, deploy the VM, then do the prerequisite. Everything we are just trying to do with the help of Ansible. Okay, so Ansible, we have just seen the basic things like how we did the Ansible. So Ansible is you can just use with the yum install option, and we did that installation, and we tried some ad hoc commands and some Ansible uh, sample testings. So we will just recollect those things and we will try to deploy these machines in AWS using this Ansible. So first, just recollect how Ansible works. Okay. So Ansible is like a configuration management tool which you can use for managing multiple servers. So there are a lot of functions or use cases where you can use and do with Ansible. So one is like okay, if you have multiple servers and you have to do some configuration. So if you are doing it manually, you have to go each and every machine and do that. Say for example, in our case, deploying the VM. Say for example, if you need a 100 node cluster, so what you need to do is just to go to the portal and to do deploy 100 machine. Then if you want to do some prerequisites configuration, like the setting the yum repository or doing something else, what you need is like you may need to do a lot of things manually. So all these things we can automate. The only thing you need is you need a host where Ansible is installed. 1 second. So you need one host where Ansible is installed. Okay. So we call this machine as Ansible master. So the installation of Ansible is very simple. What you need is you just need EPEL package. Then you can use m-y install Ansible. That will do the installation of Ansible. And okay, so I have a VirtualBox installed. Okay, and in VirtualBox, what I did is I have a CentOS base image. So this image also you can download easily. Like so, you need not to download that OS disk or anything. So there is a website like I think I already might have told you about this OS boxes. So this is an like open source page, and from where you can download these virtual machine images and the VM image, like whichever the software you need, either VirtualBox or VMware. So just hit that. So you can download the VM images from this website. So hardly 1 or 2 gig in size. And with that image, you can just use and deploy the VM in VirtualBox. So it's something like a single file. So what you need is you need to unzip that file, and using VirtualBox you need to open that file. That's it. Look here, you can see whatever the operating system. So we have got CentOS. So download a VDI image or whatever this, hit over there. And I think this website is little a bit slow. So what you need is you just need to download that. Okay, you have two options, for one is for VirtualBox and another is for VMware. So which version? CentOS 7, 6, all those things are available. So 32-bit and 64-bit you can see. So if you are going with the VMware, just use this VMware VirtualBox, use this, and download option. We always need a 64-bit. What you can do is just to download that. That will be hardly 1.6 gig in size. Once you download it and unzipped, so you can just what you can use is just to create a new VM and just use that file as location, then import. So I have created a base OS image, and from this you can just do a clone. So whatever the testing you want to do, and make sure you hit this reinitialize, and you can create multiple VMs from that base image so that it won't take so you can just use that linked clone so that it won't consume much space. So for whatever the testing you can do on different clone VM, and to do the testing. So I have created another clone called Ansible. So this is just a image. What you can do is just a clone, like whatever the name. So I can just use Ansible 2 or whatever it may be, and to reinitialize. Then next. So linked clone. Instead of full clone, just use the linked clone, because linked clone will not use much space. So we just need the things in a testing environment or testing kind of thing. So we got that VM. So what I did is just use this base image and created a clone image. I can just start. Always make sure, like while starting, so make sure you hit detachable or headless start. Normal start, no, mostly you will get an error or warning message like this. Okay, so to avoid that, just use detachable start. So I have another VM, so which already cloned and named as Ansible. So here we will just check the installation of Ansible. So again, unlike other automation tool, Ansible doesn't require an agent to be installed. So normally all other deployment tools or configuration management tools like Puppet or Chef require an agent to be installed on all the hosts. But here Ansible doesn't require an agent installed on the remote machine, because it work on by using SSH, and in backend it uses SSH to do the things. So no need of having a separate agent installed. So I have installed that Ansible using yum install Ansible. So you can just use verify this version install Ansible -- version. You can see the version information, like it's a 2.4.20, and you can go to the directory. I think /etc Ansible. Under that, we have two file like ansible.cfg and host. So ansible.cfg is the file where you have most of your configuration details written, like if you have a key file to use that information. So a lot of information you can add here in the configuration file. Okay. And another file is like a host. So host is another file where you define that host IP or host name and the username you want to use, all those things. Okay. So here you define, say for example, you have a web servers. So what are the web servers involved here? You can use. So this is the default location of Ansible CFG and the host. If you are not defining any host or any inventory host detail, so by default it will use this location /etc Ansible. But you can override by using your own ansible.cfg and host file by placing this file into the directory where you execute the Ansible commands. So so this is the default files. And if you want to do the customization, say for example, you want to use a separate host file, you can use that. Or if you want to have a separate Ansible CFG, that also you can use. Only thing is you need those files available into the directory from where you are defining. Or you can have your own custom directory and keep these files over there. But if you're not referring or if you're not pointing any files, by default, it will take these files. Okay. So once that is done, I think there are a lot of Ansible can be used in different ways. So one I said like that is in ad hoc option. So ad hoc in the sense like so we just use uh, uh, whatever the host name where you want to execute. Say for example Ansible, then I just use the local host, then -m ping. I think what it do is, so just use Ansible, then whatever the host, on which host or host group. So I just use the host name as a local host because I don't have any inventory host or inventory details defined. So I'm using this one. Or if I just use vi /etc Ansible, then host, under here if I just use like some group I am creating, like say for example my server. Okay. And what is the host name or host IP I can use here. So for example what is my host name? My host name is OS boxes, so use that value here, right? OS boxes. Then okay, which group name I used is my server, and I can just use Ansible, so host or host group, then -m, after m, so m stands for the module which we are using. So there is a module called ping that will check the ping test on the server. Okay, so like I said, this is using SSH, and that is the reason it's asking for yes or no, adding this host key option. So we can just remove that option, like host key adding, using some options are there. Okay, I don't remember that detail. 1 second. I think under Ansible CFG we need to define that properties, like host key checking disable option, we can do that. 1 second, let me just check that. I think host underscore, just control C. Okay, what I need is just edit this file etc ansible, then ansible.cfg. Okay, and here there will be an option like a host key checking, right? So this one I can just uncomment and use this one. So host key checking means if any new host is detected, it will ask this yes or no. I think in SSH you might be already know the strict host key checking option. Now I just change that. Okay, I'm here in my directory. So if I do this the same command from here, so this time unreachable. Okay, if I just use ping my server, sorry, ping my server will not work. OS boxes, that is also not working. So what I may need to update my etc host or the host file with this IP address also. So what I'm doing here is just go to that host file and okay, I think that is incorrect syntax. Let me just keep the IP alone. Okay, 1 second. I may need to so the problem is this is like I said, this is working with the SSH. So maybe the SSH is not working. What we may need to use here is SSH hyphen key then hyphen T RSA. Just use this. So if I go to .ssh, I can see the public and private key. So this public key I can just change to authorized underscore keys and change the permission to 600. And this one private key I can keep it into some of my location like to under /root. Okay, and if I have this public key, private key, so I should be able to use this key to log in, like say for example OS boxes. Even without asking, you should, like -I option you can use for this one. So this is my key. What I'm going to do here is just mention my key location. So what is a private key file which I am using for connectivity? So what I can use here is like go to the same file etc ansible, then and I think ansible.cfg file we need, and so here you can see something like a private private key file. Okay, so here I can mention like slander slash root. What is my key name? Slash root slash idrsa. Then come back to my path and we will try the same command like ansible -m. Okay, and what is our group name is etc ansible, then under host, this is my server. So what I use is ansible my server -m ping, and now we will see whether we are able to ping or not. So this is working, right? So the problem was like okay, and again if I just use the host name, it should work. So under etc ansible, then host. So here under my server, just write that host name, sorry, then do the same thing. That is working. So the problem is Ansible require a passwordless SSH connection. Either you need to make this default passwordless SSH, or else we can define that password in some file. So here I use the key based authentication to work. So actually this is just an ad hoc command. So Ansible and whatever the host name and which module we are using. So if you have multiple servers, you can list that server, and in that case it will work on all those servers. So that is also we can do with the help of Ansible. So in my case I have only one machine available. Is this clear? Okay, we will just take one more instance and we will just start that Ansible 2 instance. I think what is the problem? Detachable start. Yeah. I don't know the IP address of this machine. We will just collect that IP detail and see how we can use this machine also. Just collect the IP address. So it's I think it doesn't have 192.168 series. Let me just check. NAT. What about the other one? Okay, bridged adapter. So we just need to change that to bridged adapter here also. Settings, then network, bridged adapter, and then hit OK. And once that is done, we will just switch to root user. And then type if config and see the IP address. Oops. I don't know why that is not reflected. Okay, let me power off this VM and see. So settings, then storage. Let's go to the settings of this machine. Network is bridge. So like I said here, this is using SSH. Okay, either we need to pass the password for the user which is using this Ansible job, or we can just pass the key. So default so the default option is like so we can just use ansible.cfg where you can define these properties, or in the host inventory file you can mention as which user you are doing this thing and use that. Okay, there are multiple ways to define that SSH. So SSH is very important here. So SSH service should be enabled and running on this host. And for connecting, definitely we need some user and it's a credential. So its credential can be a password or the key file. So here I just created a key file for one machine, and we'll try to add a few more instances and see how this Ansible works. We'll just see this IP address here. 192.168.1.6. Okay, and use this IP address to connect using putty. And let me just 192.168.1.6. and this machine is having IP address 192.168.1.8 and the other is 1.6. So first thing I'm just changing this. I don't need the firewall. Okay, I'm just increasing the font size and let it be in the black itself. So just change to root user and use the command systemctl disable firewall D and stop the firewall. So in actual production you need not to stop, but you need to make sure that SSH is working fine. Then we will just check systemctl status SSHD. So it's up and running. So what I will do here is like in etc host I will update the entries for this one, or just IP address also fine. Okay, actual case you may have a DNS in place and all these things are working. And what we will do, so this is my first machine which is working as Ansible master. Go to etc Ansible, then we have the file called a host where we are just defining the inventory detail like OS boxes and the second host. You can just write IP address also here for the first one. So first one is having 8 and the second one is having 6. So if I do the same ad hoc command like my server -mping, so it will work for one host and it will fail for another host because so this is not reachable using this key. The reason is okay, I have not mentioned like Ansible CFG file here. So I can okay, either if I'm not using Ansible CFG here, it will use the default one, or else I can have my own ansible.cfg placed here. But that is using a key file for authentication. Okay, and also by default, whatever the user we execute, it will use that user to log into that machine. So that means SSH, this one should work with whatever the key we have, like under root ID or say, right? So it should work, but this won't work because it's asking for the password, because so we have not enabled the passwordless authentication, or that not need to passwordless authentication. So we just need that key file authorized key available on other machine. So what we need is we can just copy this file to the this machine, or by using SCP or like any other mechanism, or else you can just copy and paste, create the directory .ssh, then go to that .ssh, create a file authorized underscore keys, then write the content here, then user permission chmod 600 authorized key compact and chmod 700.ssh. So now if I execute the same command like ssh, this should work without password. So I mean, you can see this we are able to log in. Come back. So both are showing OS boxes because we have not changed the host name and all. Okay, that is the reason. So now if I execute this command, it will work for both. Okay, so basically what we used is we used Ansible CFG file and host file. So host file is nothing but an inventory file, and Ansible CFG is the CFG file that you can create locally also. So if you are keeping a locally CFG file, it will take the values from that. And if you have a one which is available in the default, if you're not defining any option here, and also you can just use under here also which user you need. So for example, if you just need to use with the OS boxes, then it will not work. Okay, but if I just use this user again with that key, this will not work, and also that is the reason it's saying this option. So this is called just an ad hoc option. So ad hoc option we will use just for testing and all. Say for example, I can just use this ad hoc option like this. Say for example, if I just use a ping command, so which is the basic test, and the ping will execute on the host or host list we have defined here. So it can be a host name or a host group. So in our case, my server is a group which is having these two IPs, and this is a module or okay, the task we are executing. So instead of this, I can just use the yum. Okay, and what are the options we need that you can pass, like what are the VSFTPD, like then okay, we just need to use the options like name equal to VSFTPD, then we just use state equal to present. Okay, so yum is a module which is available in Ansible, and -a stands for the arguments that we are passing. You can just check in the Google, like see Ansible yum module. So it will list various options like we can use along with the Ansible, but this won't show the ad hoc option, but uh, the most of the configure, I mean, options we can use, like the name of the package, then the state, absent, install, latest, present, removed. So these are the various options that we can use. But this is all showing like the playbook option. I will show you what is playbook and all those things. And we will just check here like rpm-qa grep vs ftp package is there or not there. Okay, now if I do this command, uh, the task yum has extra parameter which is only allowed the following modules. Shell script include okay, so or else what we will do, we will just use this copy module. I don't know why, maybe the syntax is not correct. I can just use a copy module. So this is Ansible, then the host or host group, -m module name, then -a, what are the arguments we are just using, src equal to etc, then Ansible slash host. Okay, so this is the file, and the destination equal to /tmp ansible.host. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do here, like with for the copy operation. Okay, copy as extra, which is only allowed in shell script include. Okay, I think this is not working. Okay, leave it. So we will just do the same thing with the Ansible playbook. And also, if you just want to get all the details, so there is a module called setup. So the setup module should list the complete details, like on what are the hosts available and including its hardware detail, everything it will give. Only thing you need to use is like uh, Ansible, on which host or which host group you need to do, then hyphen name, whatever the module name. Module name is setup. So setup is a module that you can use for getting the complete details. Is this clear? So the ad hoc way for execution is the one we don't use in a production kind or like a pre-production kind of setup. Just for our testing purpose, we use this option ad hoc. The only thing is it's like a command line testing option. Like so for example, if you just set up Ansible, you just need to just use -m all. Sorry, all you can use. It will do it on all the server -m ping. So this ensures like so all the configurations are correct and it's working fine. So for that purpose only, we use Ansible ad hoc execution. So the next is a playbook based. Okay. So in the playbook, uh, before that I will show you. Okay, so the playbook is nothing but a file. Okay, and which is in the format YAML, yet another markup language. So this is a special syntax, and we write this in a YAML file format. So the YAML file format you can learn, and the basically two things we are using in this YAML here. One is a list, second is array. Okay, so a list, or we use this as sorry the array, and we call it a key value pair. So normally dictionary or something we use. So I'll show you an example like okay, so okay, so the first thing, see, this is a key value pair, this one, and the colon, whatever the value, and this colon. Actually, this is for one person, James. So his values, and it's in a key value pair. Okay. So actually, the dictionary is the one which is represented as a key value pair. You can see uh, colon, then whatever the value. So key and value. So colon and value. Then okay, this is another method of writing this one, but we use this method. So dictionary. Second is the list. So list is nothing but array. Okay, so under countries, okay, so this is a key and its value is a list. And you can see hyphen, with the hyphen the values are there. And we can have a list of array of list, or I mean the dictionary of array of dictionaries and all in actual case. Okay. So if you just look here, see, just hyphen means the James is a part of one array, and after James, what are the values? Okay, under, if you just here, no other values are there, but it's a dictionary, and name is this one, and it's a result, another again dictionary of dictionary, like that. Okay, so basically we are using array, I mean dictionaries and arrays in YAML file. Now, as I said, the playbook follows a dictionary method. Like in playbook is written in YAML, and we have a list or array of plays. Okay, array of play, and each play we will be executing on specific host. Okay, and under each play, okay, each play will have a variables, and it will have a task. So again, for task we use modules. Okay, we will just write a sample playbook. Just to come back here. And any name I'm just write dot YML. So we use the extension YML, and like I said, so we need array of plays. Okay, so I'm just writing name and colon, then space, first play. Okay, and okay, you should not use the tab, just use the spacing key to adjust the space. So under that, okay, so if you have multiple play, you can just say name second play, like that. And under each play, okay, you can just don't use the tab, just use a space. So just after this, you can just write host, on which host you are going to execute. So we have that host, I think it's my host or something, host groups or host name, and that's it. Now after that, we can define all the vars or variables that we are using here. Okay, so where all the variable name you can define under the var section. Okay, so ABC, what is the value you are using? Value 1. Okay, then df, so val 2, this is spacing. Then we can define task. Okay, so task, again array of task. So under task we will move that, and again just move few more, just say for example name. What is the name of the task we are using? Just use task 1, and the task 1 will be using different modules, like we may be using like uh, modules and its argument to do, and we can have a next task, say for example hyphen name, then whatever the task 2, and again we will not use this name as module. Say for example we will use a yum or whatever it may be, so yum, and it's a task and another task. So similarly we can have multiple tasks available. So all these things together form one play, and again, so you just need to execute this on my host and another thing on another host. You can write in the playbook like this. So playbook means the series of plays, and each play will have the portions like the host and all, and variable section where you define the variable, and task, the actual task, array of tasks. Okay, hyphen means this array of tasks we will define. And once you have done this one, okay, once you have saved this, what you will do, Ansible hyphen playbook, then this file you will use. Then what it will do, whatever the place we defined or play we defined, maybe one play or multiple play like that, then from each play will have variable section or on which host to execute, and then series of tasks it will execute that. Okay, so we will just see some sample example, like so install packages using, we will just use the sample playbook. Okay, we'll take this one also. This is official documentation. On the bottom we can see some sample script written. Okay, so we will just try some sample case here. What we will do, first we will just check what is the host group we define, my server. Then I'll let me my test YAML and the first play, write the host name and vars whatever the variables I need to define, like I'm just defining package name something, then I'm just writing as httpd, and I need only one variable, that's it. And the task I'm just defining as yum. Okay, so we have seen like some yum example here. We can just take this case. Okay, I'm just say installing httpd, then use this option. So the alignment should be the proper, just use the space tab and use that. Okay, this thing will come under yum, so again one spacing is needed. So we don't need anything else. Okay, so single task only. So this is the name of the task, and under that which module I'm using. So EC2 module I'm using. This is the step which I am using. What I am using is the HTTP is present, and then enable repo. I don't have a repo to enable. I can just skip that option. So state equal to present. Let's just try this one. So Ansible hyphen playbook. So my test. Okay, the error appear line number 8 colon number 11, but okay. So the problem is I missed a colon here. Okay, so this is one play with the, okay, you can see multiple play means I mean one task. So this is one task, and multiple play also we cannot, but I've just added one play, and you can see the first play is executing, and again on that task, so whatever the task is executing. So this will finish that installation soon. Only thing is it's doing HTTPD installation.
So it will do HTTP installation on the same node, isn't it? Or is it going to do that installation on all the nodes?
No, not on that node alone. So what? Okay, so here we have defined on which host to do or which host group to do. Okay, so this is my first play. That you understood, right? So the under first
Yeah.
play, under the play there has an option like a host. So under the host, I just use the my server. So my server means that is a host list that we define under etc Ansible
Yeah.
then host, which is nothing but an inventory, and where in the bottom I just define my server with these two machines. So what it will do, this play will be executed on that host in that list. So basically it will check, okay, where to execute this play. So my server means it's a group where we have got two server, and variables. Okay, I think even I have not used the variable, so we can just use the variable if we need it. What I need is just within the quote, then again two double quote, and whatever the variable name I can add here, and ending the quote. Okay, so this way it will use variable HTTP. I can just use NFS or something else here, NFS. So what it will do, so this play will be executed on the host which is in this host group, that is uh, whatever the host we define in the inventory, and only one task, so that task will be executed. So if you just see here rpm-k vsftp, I think not vsftp, http, you can see that. So if I just use nfs, now NFS, okay, NFS is already installed. Okay, let's just try to install vsftpd then. So what I see here, I have a variable vars. Okay, under that where you can define whatever the variable we use to define. So that variable you can use here under any task. So if you want to access the variable, use two double quotes. In between two double quotes, use that variable name. So the variable name here is the package name. Okay, so the each play will have the sections. Okay, the first is the name and the host where it's executed. The second is the variables that we are using. Third is the task that or list of the tasks that we are using. So now let's just try to execute again Ansible playbook, whatever the playbook name. You can see the first play, then it's executing on this VSF VSFTPD, I think VSFTPD or yeah. So this reason is it's saying like the package is not available. So VSFTP, there is no package. So I just changed to VSFTPD. Now this is changed. You can see the changed equal to 1. So now again, if I execute the same thing, no change will happen. Okay, now let's verify whether VSFTPD is there or not. Yes, it's installed here. Also, it will install in this host itself because we just given that host detail. And if I again execute this playbook, so nothing will happen. Like here, the change will be 0 because no change it's doing. But earlier there was a change. Now, say for example, I just removed rpm hyphen e vsftpd something, or just m hyphen y. I don't know, rpm hyphen qa. Okay, I think in the first phase itself it's removed, and now if I just use the same thing again, here you can see only on one machine it's changed, another machine it's not changed. Okay, and again if you execute, so even if you keep on executing, nothing will happen. Only thing is whenever that change is not there, then you use. So first understand what is a playbook. Playbook is nothing but we can write the list of plays. So each play is dedicated for one machine. Okay, and each play will have a variable defining section and the task, whatever the list of tasks we need to execute. Is this clear? Any questions?
No, okay.
Is it clear or it's confusing? Tell me.
No, I think it's clear to me.
Okay, okay. So what about Eldo and Venkat?
Yeah, it's clear to me as well.
Okay, right, right. Okay, I'm just explaining this well because if I directly go and explain that EC2 instance creation and the other task in detail, so you won't be able to understand. So that is why we are just doing from the scratch. Okay, so we just need to know what is a playbook and how a playbook contain. Okay, and next, we will just try to create an AWS instance using this playbook. Okay. For that, what we need is we need AWS keys to be created. So go to the services, hit IAM, Identity and Access Manager. And here in the dashboard, you have option to create a new user and assign privileges, and we already have an admin or root account available. So I'll just go here. Okay, delete root access keys. So this is the option. Like I will just hit here, manage security credential, and yes, continue to security credential. That's fine. Access keys. Here you can see a lot of options. So a lot of access keys are there. I'm just uh, deleting all this access key because this access keys can be used to log into this AWS console, and you can create AWS instances and all. Okay, so I'm just creating a new access keys for my admin user. Just hit this show access key. So these two things are important: access ID and secret. Just close this. So once you complete it, you can just make it an inactive or just delete that, because it's if I just do this, and if you just, you can also use this one, and you can create, and that I will be charged. So the reason is like immediately if you create and do something, just keep it in the safe custody, or else after you done, just delete that. Okay, so what we are going to do here is we are just going to deploy this VM using AWS. Okay, for that, what
So
we
basically,
need is sorry.
sorry, I was thinking. So are we gonna create Ansible machine, or we are going
No, no,
to
no. See,
spin a
we
box?
will just we have an Ansible server here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I have a network connectivity from here to AWS. So this is a internet facing machine, like where I can just connect to Google.
That's fine. This is what I want to check, that whether we're
Yeah.
gonna use our local machine to spin the new instances at AWS.
Yeah, you can use either one. So both are okay. Only thing is you need to have the connectivity. So if I have already one
That,
Ansible instance in AWS, that is fine. I can use that and configure Ansible first and use this playbook. Okay. So I'm just
no, perfect.
creating that. So AWS underscore create dot YML. Okay. And for the play, what I'm using is hyphen name. Then I'm just writing as a deploy VMs in AWS and host. Okay, so basically I can just use the local host. See, the module which I am going to execute is executing on local machine or on my Ansible host only. Okay, so later we have some uh, option like where you can use this one on the remote machine. That time you need to create a separate group and do all those things. I'll tell you how that works. Okay, but this time just understand, like we are just going to deploy the VM, and uh, we can have I think the first section is vars. Whatever the variables that you are going to use here, you can define, and whatever the task. Okay, the same way, like the task variables, task, and you can have the task here. Okay, so the same way we will just create. So the spacing should be uniform, like task. Okay, and under vars, what are the variables I need to use? So what I'm using here is like there is a module called EC2. Okay, uh, so for one thing I need is AWS access keys, right? So that I can define here. So using AWS underscore access underscore key, then colon, what is the value which I'm going to use for AWS access key. Access ID is this one, and also again we should not use the tab, instead of use the space bar. Then AWS underscore secret underscore key, then whatever the secret key we have. So you can use this one. And again, if we go to this, okay, I can open this one. So this is the official Ansible documentation. What you just need to use is like a Ansible AWS module. Just hit that. I think there is a module called AWS, or sorry, I think you can write EC2 module. Okay, so EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, where you can use for deploying EC2 instances. And these are the parameters you need. Okay, if I scroll down, you can see some sample case. Like this is a simple option, and another one is like with the VPC weight and what is that, number of count, then instance tag we can have. And also another thing is like we have the volume, like if you need to use extra disk space, that is also we can just use. Okay, and I don't know how. Okay, first we just need to deploy one VM and see how it works. Okay, and the key name. So this normally we use the key for creating. Okay, that is the SSH key, the type of instance, and image ID. So waiting and group. I don't know. Like maybe this is the default one. VPC ID and public IP. So this option we can try. Okay. So what we will do here is come here and so what we need is like under the task. Okay, so I just need to name my write my name of my task, like sorry, not this one. Okay, so I just need to write the name of my task as a deploy VM. Then under here, so which module I am going to use, just use the EC2. And what are the options I need to pass along with this? So one is AWS underscore then since I use a variable, I can use this variable name here. Okay, or else I can hard code the value. So one is the AWS keys. Again, the tab is not support. Just use a space. AWS access key, and the second is AWS secret key. Okay, we will just AWS secret key. And this one. And what are the other options we need to use here? Okay, because we will have to log into this AWS console and to find that the key name. Okay, what are the key which we are using? So that is also we need to get. We will go here and go back to the EC2 and key pairs. So HTTP admin key, right? So this was the key that we were using. So HTTP underscore admin underscore key. So this is the value, and you can use either here that values in that variable section, or else you can hard code the values. The both will do the same thing. So here just use what is the key pair we are using, key name or okay,
Key
group is the
key underscore name colon that key HTTP admin key.
yeah, right. We will just use that. I think somewhere, okay, yeah, we will just use that property also here. Okay, then key name, and we have a property called group. So group is nothing but the security group we have defined, right? So that is
Yeah.
nothing but AWS NSG. So we will just see secure. Security group here itself. Okay, whatever that. Okay, so this is a security group. So group name. So this is a group name, right? So we have got that value. Now there is another property, VPC Subnet ID. VPC Subnet ID, that is also needed, and so this two. Okay, first we will just take VPC Subnet ID and add here. Okay, we'll go back here and we will just see. Okay, if we cannot see, just search like V security elastic IP. Think EC2 dashboard, or I think here we can just check VPC and whatever the VPC is available. So this is the VPC ID, and what we need is a subnet ID. Okay, and we'll just take this. I don't know which one is the default. subnet ID. Okay, anyway, we will just choose one and see. So 46 under 46. So this is the subnet ID. I think we have got 3 subnet. Is it all are under the same 46? Yeah, 46. Yeah, all are under same VPC. Okay, VPC is nothing but a network. Under that we have this one, and instance type we need, and image also, and region and count. Okay, so VPC, then VPC subnet ID, that is fine. Then instance underscore type is another property. We will see that. Okay, T2 micro. What is the type of instance? Like it's nothing but like the size of the VM that we are going to deploy. And okay, instance type is fine. Then we have image. Image is nothing but that is it's a AMI ID. So we have already noted down that I think this is the one we choose. In case if we are not sure, like we can just get that from the AWS console. Go back here and then I don't know how to search. Luckily, maybe we will just try to create, and from the community maybe we will search for that. Whether yes. So that image ID, I think that is fine. Then we need to have region. I think here we are not using. Okay, so auto assign public IP. We will just mark it as yes. And here the region, on which region we want to deploy the machine. I think it's in Singapore. I don't know how to write that Singapore name here. We will just see that. Okay, we have to note down this value, but if you are using extra disk, okay, and tag security group. Okay, so this is just on the review page. I can just see the review page. I will be able to see the location. Don't know whether is there anything anywhere that location is there.
Is location is Singapore or is the
Yeah.
name?
I just
Let me just Google it.
Ansible. Yeah. 3, 2. Okay, US is to 2. Okay. Okay, if we have one machine, I think we have all those information deployed. I don't know, let's just it's Asia Pacific or Singapore, I don't know what you write, because here it's a region, it's raised US East 2. So US East 2. Okay, let's deploy this VM and see. Yeah, this is the one. Availability is on.
Availability. Right.
Yeah. Okay, and auto assign public IP, that is fine. Then is there any other option? I think the mandatory options we just added. Instance type, contact. Okay, I think that's it. We will do a deployment using this one, right? So I'll tell you. Okay, so this is a simple playbook. Okay, first part is like where we are deploying. Second is okay, the variable that we are using is defining here, and what are the tasks. So I just use the AWS, and I think one more is like how many instance we need. So that is also we need to define like count. Then I'm just writing as a 1. How many we need, and key, then AWS keys and all. Okay, let's just try this and see whether it's working or not. So Ansible -playbook, then AWS create. Okay. Okay. So this module is not there. Okay. So we may just need to install module. So Boto 3 or Boto, I don't know which one we need. Okay, let me give 1 second.
I think it's Boto 3.
Yeah.
because that's a
First,
Python module.
yeah. We just need to pip install
So it says
Boto3.
pip. I'm just googled it. So it says pip space install space Boto 3.
Yeah.
So pip space install space Boto 3.
Okay. So this.
It, big pip is for Mac, isn't it? Or no?
It's node map. Mm, okay. So what? This is something different, I think. Mm, so, okay, I think EPEL release will do.
But you were using the same thing before, weren't you? YAML
I
install pip.
Yes, yes. No, no. Now, after that, what I did is EPEL release. So extra package for enterprise Linux. So that will add a new repositories, but I'm not sure like that is taking or not. But it's just initializing that repositories and all. So I'll just
That's
EPEL
fine.
release. You can see EPEL stands for
So
extra
did you
package for.
did you do EPL before doing pip? Because I was not looking at it. So did you do that?
Yeah, yeah. I did that
No.
EPEL installation.
All right. Okay.
So I don't know, like let's wait and see whether that pip installation is working after that.
Yeah.
No, nothing is there.
So it says yum install space python dash pip.
Uh,
Can I give it a try?
yeah, just we will just use the star. It will. Oh, okay. I think yeah, that is Python. Yeah, Python 3. Yeah, that will do.
So it says pip is not packaged in official software repository of CentOS/RHEL. So you need to enable EPEL repository and then install it. It's like this: yum install EPEL-release and then yum
Correct.
install python-pip.
Correct. Yeah, that is what we have done. So we just installed EPL release. So EPL release is a package. Only thing is, after doing that installation, it will add some more repositories in that repository file, like /etcm repos.d directory. That is something like extra packages, and those packages are like maybe mostly the trial or those kind of products. But still,
Yeah, I
Ansible
understand.
also, yeah, those kind of which does not come from like a complete official thing. So after that, we just did like a Python pip, because earlier we just tried like yum install star pip star, that was also not working. But after adding that repository using
Yeah.
EPL, it's working fine. Okay, so I will just go ahead and complete that installation. So I just okay, some of them are dependent packages also, so that is also get installed. So by that time, whatever the AWS instance we just created, let me stop it here. Okay, then pip install auto and auto 3.
So Boto is working.
Yeah, now this is working. Pip, after installing pip, we are able to install that. So that is downloading some packages and Boto and Boto 3. I don't know, maybe some dependent packages also there. Okay, so basically we just need to do this command. Okay, but in order to work that, so you just need to EPL release, EPEL hyphen release. Then you just need to install yum install python hyphen pip. What I just used is a star pip star. So whatever the matching with the pip, it will install. And once that is done, we can again try that Ansible playbook option. Right. Mm, the region AP does not seems to be available for AWS module. Region is definitely okay. So it's saying like the region doesn't support. So you will just try US East. Oh, okay. So one problem is like the VNet and subnet doesn't exist in that region. And also when we try this location, earlier location, that is saying like the region does not support in Bhutto. And when we try the East US, I mean the US East one, so that option also not there. So what we need to do is like go to the AWS console and go to the US East. So Middle East, South America, Asia Pacific, US East. So US East one is AP Southeast one. Okay, that is the one we used. Okay, 1B. Okay, instead of 1B, what we will use AP Southeast one. Now we'll see. Oh, okay. So the problem was this region. Okay, now it's started deploying, and region is AP Southeast 1, not Southeast 1B. So I just choose this file, okay, where they are defining the regions. Like so that is AP Southeast 1. Okay, not the southeast 1B or 1A. Maybe that is something like the data center which was displaying. And since everything is available, so it went well. Okay, no error. It's like change here. So changed means it might be deploying the VM in the backend. So I'll have to go there and check whether this instance is getting deployed. So in North Virginia, I need to change to Singapore region, and from there, I should be able to see the new VM T2 micro is initializing. So what we used here is, yeah, tell me. Hello.
Sorry, I wanted to ask, but about if you want to add more disks, but I think I can see that we can, I think, write something like this, the way you are saying, that root device, and we can probably add more disks, isn't it?
Correct. I think somewhere in that official documentation, it was there, right? So only thing is we were just not sure like which disk we need to expand. Now from the console we got like okay, so this is what SDA1. Okay, I just noted down that SDA1 is the one we need to increase. So from the default one, I may need to expand this to 50 gig or something or more. I think somewhere here in that EC2 module, it's a written like, and also the naming tag also we can just change. I think this instance tag, I will do that. Here this volume option, like under EC2 there is a volume option, like the type of the disk and all those things we can control. So delete on termination, then what is the snapshot we want to choose, what is the device name, what is the size, volume size. So we are just concerned about the device name and its a volume size, so that we can create our own custom one. And also rather than we just giving the name here, so we can just use this to add the name. So now just understand like with Ansible, we should be able to deploy the VM. Only thing is we just need access and secret key. Then count means one means a single instance. So here we just need to use how many number of instances we need. So once this instance is deployed, the next task again I can write here, just copy these files to there, because since we have this AWS key, whatever the key, right, the key name. So this key I have this ppk or pem file. So using that key, I should be able to push my files to these instances, trigger the yum installation and all those things. Okay. So maybe tomorrow we will continue with that. Or is there any questions or any clarity you need on this part? Just deploying the VM or a simple Ansible playbook. Any questions? Okay. So if everyone is fine, so we will wind up for now and we'll continue tomorrow. Okay.
So can I say something? I think,
yeah.
To be honest, I am struggling to find time.
Sorry.
I would suggest, can we skip tomorrow? So I think I want to practice a little bit, because attending the class, not doing it. But unless someone wants to do it, because or Venkat or Aldo want to do it tomorrow.
No, I didn't get that. Actually, your voice was breaking in between. So can you please say that again?
What I'm saying, can we skip tomorrow? So, because whatever we have learned today, it's. I think I want to do it.
Yeah, no problem. So we can do that. Yeah. Yeah, we will skip tomorrow class then. Right.
What do you think, Venkat?
No problem. Okay, you can practice. Okay, I'll share this thing, whatever the contents we use to deploy. So I'll share that, and
Yeah.
you can have your own access keys and try that. I'll send you the details. Okay, all right, then practice tomorrow.
Okay,
And
fantastic. And you're gonna send these files, YAML files, Sujit.
yeah, I'll send you that.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, yeah, no problem.